Hey, what's up? So, I am trying a fun little series, very similar to another YouTuber named Baby Jamie One. He will be linked in the description because the idea entirely goes to him. Amazing guy, amazing guy. But it's a little series where we'll have Minecraft in the background. It's a world that's entirely done by me. We will go ahead and work on that. I'll figure out ideas as to how to do. It's entirely survival. There's gonna be no gimmicks, nothing crazy. It's no hardcore, no mods, just vanilla Minecraft, just playing through it normally. While the whole time I will be reading some Reddit stories, either from Am I the Asshole, Am I Overreacting, Get This Off My Chest, so on and so forth. All the stories and all the subreddits will be linked in the description as well, in case you guys want to go ahead and leave comments on the posts and all that kind of stuff. And I'll give my 2 cents on it, obviously, and we'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, thank you for watching, and let's get on to the first story. So our first story comes from user Chuck in the Rubbish. Am I the asshole for not disclosing that I am not Christian? To preface this, I do commissioned artwork, and I don't discriminate against any subject unless it's racist, homophobic, otherwise hateful, or sexually disturbing. I did a commission art piece with Christian iconography, a beautiful ornate cross, a saint, and scripture in calligraphy. The client was happy with my work, paid me, and then asked me what my favorite scripture was. I was honest and just said, oh, I don't really have one because I'm not a Christian and wouldn't really know which ones I'd like. He became upset and told me he felt lied to because I have posted artwork of Christian subjects before, and he assumed I would be Christian. He said the art doesn't hold the same spiritual value because it wasn't made with faith intentions. I was kind of unsure of what to say and said, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I do artwork for everybody, and I'm open to doing Christian artwork because it's for the client, not me. Should I be disclosing if I don't share a certain faith when commissioned to do artwork for it? Am I the asshole? No. No, you're not the asshole for not disclosing. If you're doing art for a certain person, you are putting you're putting the commissioner's ideas onto a piece of paper or onto whatever your medium of art is. You're not doing it because it's your own ideas, you're doing it because the person who's paying you is doing it. You are simply a vessel for the commissioner to put their art or to put their ideas onto whatever their canvas of choice is. You shouldn't be put down for not believing in whatever they believe in, because that's not your job. That's not your job to be following exactly what they're doing. They're commissioning you because they saw your art and they liked it, so that's what they're doing. Or at least that's what it should be. It shouldn't be because of your views behind it. I don't think you're the asshole for it. I don't think anything's wrong with anything that you did. The commissioner was definitely a little bit of an asshole for getting upset about that kind of stuff, because again, that's something that shouldn't really be that isn't something that you should have power over, or that you even have power over. It's not your fault. Just plain and simple, it's not really your fault. You're not the asshole. It's a really simple one. It's a really short post. But yeah. This next post comes from user RatQueen1995. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend I would have preferred lunch over groceries when his card declined at the store? Today, my boyfriend 30M, and I, 30 female, were working from home. And we didn't have many groceries at home to cook a decent meal with. My boyfriend offered to go get me lunch as I was quite hungry but busy with work. Very nice offer, which I joyfully accepted, asking for some $11 sushi from the grocery store. After a rather long period of time, the store is about 5 minutes away, and he came back around 40 minutes later. He comes back with a bag of groceries such as cherries, a block of cheese, Cheerios, milk, a jar of capers, a rather hodgepodge group of items. He explained how his card declined and he's been having some issues with incorrect fraud charges. So he called the bank, etc., but they couldn't immediately authorize a larger charge. He only had $40 to spend on the card, so he got groceries instead. I listened to this tale a bit impatiently as I was quite hungry by this point, but I had been expecting the meal he said he would bring. As he concluded his story, I said, likely in a notably disappointed tone, "Got it. I would have preferred lunch, to be honest, but I'm going to go get the sushi." Boyfriend got pretty upset right off the bat, immediately raising his voice to say I was being ungrateful and that he could have made lunch with these items he had brought. I left, probably with eye-rolling energy to be honest, to acquire my lunch and figure he might cool off, as it wasn't that big of a deal in my mind. I was bummed that he told me he would do a nice thing and didn't follow through. He was annoyed I wasn't more grateful for getting groceries. When I got back, he said I was being a bitch and that he was doing a nice thing and that I should be appreciative. My response was to laugh at that reaction and just leave the room, as it seemed so preposterous to me to have that large of a reaction to saying I would have preferred lunch in the middle of a busy workday. In my view, if you tell someone you're going to get them lunch when they're hungry, you prioritize delivering on that offer because you stick to your word, or at a minimum, you shoot them a text saying it didn't work out. I also think it's within reason to express disappointment and then move on. In his mind, I'm being really rude and ungrateful for his initial offer, noting that we frequently buy each other meals. So it's not an uncommon offer on either side. Am I the asshole? 50-50. Like, I can understand the frustration when it comes to you telling him, "Hey, just get me the $11 sushi. That's all I want. That's what I want for lunch." And then him coming back with a ton of groceries. I can understand how that would be a little frustrating on your end because, like, that's the exact opposite of what you told him to do. Like, you told him just the $11 sushi, nothing else, and then he came back with a crap ton of other stuff saying how, "Oh no, I didn't have enough money to get everything, but I brought all this stuff instead." He was way too aggressive about the fact that he was saying how, well, one, calling you a bitch is super, super aggressive for something like this, because I do agree it is a smaller deal. I do agree that you should have still been pretty nice and going ahead and just being like, "Oh, you bought all this kind of stuff, I'm just gonna go get the sushi anyways," is still kind of an asshole move on you. Because, yeah, sure, he did not listen to you, but he still did bring all this other stuff, which is still pretty good. And you shouldn't have to, just undermine it like that so you can just go get what you were craving. You could have been a lot nicer about it. I don't think that you're entirely the asshole because of him not listening, but I do think you could have handled the situation a lot better just because of how that is. There is an edit to it. Thank you to many of you for your thoughtful responses. I immediately caved and told my boyfriend about this coast, then we had an introspective time reviewing the comments and considering perspectives from all angles. I think we will both learn and grow. I won't let my anger get in the way of appreciation of effort, and he won't drop the B word anymore. Okay. Glad that they understood that both of them were kind of in the wrong for this, like him for calling her a bitch like that, because, again, being him, like, saying that kind of stuff is super disrespectful to the relationship as a whole. You letting your anger get the best of you and just completely undermining his effort, that shouldn't be, yeah, that shouldn't have to happen. That shouldn't have to happen, but it should have happened in a much more mature way. Again, you guys are 30. You guys have a decent chunk of your life starting all that. You're probably already out of college. or you probably have been working for at least like a decade. You should have been a little bit more mature when it comes to this relationship. Again, this is just assuming you guys have been in this relationship for quite a while, but it should have been handled a lot better. Glad that you see that it's a lot better, that how you guys could have worked on it better and how you can grow on that. I'm really happy about that. But not the asshole, more 50-50. Both of you messed up, and both of you can fix that. Our next story comes from user Iris AFK. Am I the asshole for telling my dad I want to text and call my mom from my own phone this summer instead of using his? I, 17F, am about to turn 18 and just finished my first year of college. First of all, either you started college early, which congratulations, that's a impressive feat. I'm like, good job. I didn't start until I was like 18, and my first year was horrible. But yeah, congratulations, that's awesome. My parents are divorced, and I usually spent part of the summer with my dad, who lives across the country. For as long as I can remember, whenever I was at his place, I'd use his phone to call or text my mom. This was originally due to custody rules for when I was younger, but those rules haven't applied for a while now. At college, I've had full freedom to contact either parent from my own phone, and I've been calling and texting my dad regularly on my own. So this year, before heading to his place, I sent him a text saying I wanted to start using my own phone to call and text my mom while I'm there. I mentioned that I'm almost 18 and I've been managing my own communications all year. I said it would also save him the trouble of coordinating calls. I tried to keep the tone respectful and said that we could talk more on call later that day. When we talked that evening, he was extremely upset. He said my message felt like a formal notice and not a conversation, that it came across like I was telling him what would happen, not asking. He said the phrasing felt manipulative and that I was trying to use reverse psychology by presenting it as something that would make things easier for him. He also felt like I was letting my mom control the situation through me and accused me of choosing her over him. He also brought up a recent conflict about my visiting time for the summer, saying I sold half his vacation without even asking him because I wanted to spend half the summer with him and half with my mom instead of the whole summer like I used to be required to. He told me that it isn't about logistics, it's about respect and boundaries in his house. He said his rules haven't changed and that I can't just decide they have because I'm older. He said I was losing my father very fast and that this past month he doesn't like where things are going. I'm assuming in terms of my tone / how I've changed. At this point, he called me ruthless, said I'm still going to go through with calling my mom from my phone, knowing how much it hurts him. Then, good for you. I was honestly kind of stunned. I wasn't trying to be cold or manipulative. I thought I was bringing something up early to avoid issues later, and I really believed I was being reasonable and polite. But now I'm worried I handled it badly. He's been through a lot, and I don't want to be insensitive. At the same time, I feel like I have a right to communicate from my own phone, especially now that I'm older and more independent. So, am I the asshole for telling my dad I want to start using my own phone to call / text my mom during my summer visits? I don't think, no, you aren't the asshole, because you are an adult. Like, 17, not legally an adult, but in some places that is technically when people can start being charged as an adult and where people can start making their own decisions as an adult. So I would definitely consider that as an adult. You have the right to be to communicate with your parents in using your own device, obviously. Not only just because it's, it's less of a hassle for him, because I believe coordinating the calls would be a pain just to deal with, but also because it gives you privacy, because you can text them and you won't have to worry about your dad going through your phone and all that kind of stuff, and vice versa. Because I don't know how the home structure is or anything like that, especially due to it being a divorced family, which is always a tough thing to deal with. I don't like the way that he was saying how you're going to lose him, because that just feels like a very, very childish thing for a father to be telling their child. in general. That is not something that you would want to be hearing from a friend, much less a family member, much less your parental figure. Like, that is a very immature and very honestly disgusting thing to be told. It's kind of messed up. I don't blame you for being stunned, because that, from the way that you worded it, it doesn't seem like it was trying to be cold or manipulative. It definitely could have come off across like that, but you're an adult. Depending on your situation, you shouldn't have to be asking for permission to talk to your mom with your own phone. You're definitely not the asshole. Definitely not the asshole. And there is a pretty decent edit over here, so I'll go ahead and read that one as well. Edit. Some more context is needed. He does not spy on my text with my mom because there aren't any. Court order used to be that I had to call the parent I wasn't with at least once a day. To adhere to this, we stuck to an exact schedule. When I was with my mom, I'd call my dad at 8 p.m. and vice versa, with video calls required on certain days. We stuck to this perfectly, even though it said at least. A lot of the problems my dad had using my own phone is that when I was younger, I had my own phone. I still used my mom's, but this is because they had this petty game of back and forth. She wouldn't let me call him or text him using my phone because he wouldn't, and vice versa. They were constantly getting back at each other, so nothing was ever going anywhere. I had been bringing my phone to his place since I was 14, but until I was 17, he kept putting it away, turned off in a drawer. I called my mom only from his phone and was not able to text her, or see texts she might have been sending to my phone. Last winter, age 17, he let me keep my phone and use it to contact whoever I like, with one exception. I could not contact my mom from my phone, only his. Still no texts. Even after a whole semester of college where I'd been called and texting him freely, even from living with my mom, she released her rules once I went to college because she found them silly. My dad doesn't make me take her calls on speaker, but he does sometimes make me sit next to him while taking them. Indirectly, if I try to go to another room, he gets a bit weird about saying, "Where are you going? Why?" And it's just not worth fighting about it. When I call him from my mom's house, though, I go to my room and close the door. It's always just been extremely different in two households, and it's really like I live two different lives, which makes it harder when I try to combine them. This kind of just adds on to what I was saying. You are definitely not the asshole for this kind of stuff, because your parents are putting their own personal issues with each other onto you. And you, as a child, shouldn't have to be dealing with this kind of stuff, because, again, they are still your parents. They should both be supporting you properly, not trying to be fighting for, they're doing this, so I'm going to do that, and so on and so forth. It should be a thing of, you're their child. They're going to take care of you. They're going to help you. They're going to respect your boundaries as their child, as an adult, not even a young adult, as an adult. And if you've been doing this whole thing in college, I don't see why it should be any different when you're at home or at your dad's place or at your mom's place, because your mom's already gotten rid of the rule, as she said is silly. Your dad should definitely be doing the same, because at that point he's already gotten rid of the whole, she does it, so I do it too, because that's not a thing anymore. It's more just about control with him. This is entirely a thing about control. You are not the asshole. You just have to deal with honestly a little crappy father. Not your fault, not your father's fault. It's just their own personal issues starting to be projected onto you. And I apologize for that, because that is a really hard thing to deal with. So this is our last post of the video. It's a little bit of a heavy one. It has to deal with death, especially the death of a child. So if you don't like that, go ahead and just skip over to the end. But let's go ahead and begin. This is on r/offmychest. From user OKHippo509. The kid I babysit just died. I've been babysitting for a family for about half a year now, their 1-year-old son and their 5-year-old daughter. They texted me early this morning letting me know the 5-year-old passed away unexpectedly and they'd be discontinuing our regularly schedule until further notice. I almost feel like I'm not close enough to them to have the right to grieve, but I've been crying all day. I'm unable to eat and I'm just depressed. Last time I saw her, she sassily told me she was just starting to like me. And we joked back and forth about how she didn't like me before. She was always so sassy, so fun, so imaginative. She really did have the most incredible imagination, and I will carry that on with me for the rest of my life. The last day I was with her, we were hunting through her backyard to find dinosaur teeth because she was convinced dinosaurs lived there. She was a dinosaur rescuer, and they were hiding away because humans had been mean to them before and they were scared. But they needed her help. She said their nests were always under the shade of trees, so we were looking under every tree for a wounded dinosaur to help feel better. Today, after I got the news, I went and sat under a shaded tree and just cried for hours. It's unfair. She was so young, so innocent, her family was so generous. They always ensured I was well fed and felt included as part of the family. I just feel sick. I didn't expect that family will ever have me back, and that's okay. I don't know if I ever want to babysit again. My heart is hurting so badly. It's not fair. I don't have any words for that, honestly. I'm sorry that this happened to you because that is a very, very painful thing to go through. I know for a fact it's painful. And God, reading that almost got me to jerk up. God, but no, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. That is such a horrible thing to go through, man. Hopefully, you definitely do have the right to grieve over that. I want you to know that you have the right to grieve. You were babysitting this kid for about half a year, as you said, and that was an extremely close bond that you made with that family, with that child. And it seemed like she had a really, really great imagination. I am so sorry that you had to deal with that. I know I'm just rambling at this point, but there's not much that I can really say other than just I'm sorry, because it's such a... Death is always such a horrible thing. But you know what? At the end of the day, she's okay now. Whatever she was going through, whatever caused this death, it's no longer affecting her. She can rest now. And the best thing that you can do is just work with it. Deal with it as well as you can. Take care of yourself for her. Take care of yourself for her family. Be there if the family wants you to be there. Show your support. And slowly build yourself up with it. Hurts, but it'll build you into an even better person, as much as it sucks to say. And I apologize that you did have to deal with that. I know I said that the last one was going to be the last one of the episode, but I don't want to leave it at that. This is my first time reading them, so I didn't know it was going to be that bad. But we'll end it on a nicer note. This one comes from r/wholesome, from user M_B23. I finally have the sister I never had growing up. I never had sisters growing up, just me and my two older brothers, 8 and 10 years old. 8 and 10 years older than me. So I basically grew up alone. They were always out with friends. My parents were always at work. I was the only girl and the only one home most of the time. It was lonely. I always longed for a sister, someone to talk to, learn from, hang out with. Never learned how to be girly, how to do my hair or makeup, how to talk about crushes or handle friendships. But everything I missed out on growing up got made up for when my brothers married the two most amazing women. One of my sister-in-laws, Amira, is my twin in spirit. chaotic ADHD energy, never a dull moment when we're together. She's the wild, hilarious big sister I never had. And then there's Mira, calm, sometimes she low-key cracked out, wise voice of reason sister-in-law who gave me exactly the role model I needed. She felt like the older sister I always wished I had, loved going to her house randomly to steal her food and then staying over until 2 a.m., bothering the hell out of her and my brother. And also just sitting and talking with them and talking about life. They're both beautiful inside and out. They always welcome me with open arms. I can go to them for anything, makeup advice, boy problems, family rants, life questions. My brothers are stinky little ogres, but somehow they brought two of the most important people into my life. I love them so much. I feel so lucky to have them. That is super sweet, honestly. That is probably the sweetest thing that I've heard from involving in-laws that I've heard in a while. Like, that is adorable. I'm really happy that your older brothers, were able to bring, to give you a much fuller and nicer family because of this. They gave you sisters that you never would. Literally, as you put in the title, is such a sweet thing for you to put, and I'm so happy that you put that in, that you're sharing that with us. Like, it's such an amazing thing, and I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you with this. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, a little subscribe would be nice. It would help me nicely. It would make me feel a little bit better seeing the number tick up a little bit. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you want to add your own stories, that would be really nice to put it into the comments for other people to go ahead and read so I can read them. I would like to see your thoughts on these stories, so on and so forth. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a good day.